No one in the busy streets of Abeokuta noticed when the black SUV lost control. It was late evening, and the sky hung low with rain clouds, heavy and swollen. Thunder rolled softly in the distance. Traders hurried to pack their goods. Motorcycles splashed through muddy puddles. The road was alive with chaos. Then came the screech. Metal screamed against asphalt. Glass shattered. People turned. The SUV spun violently, crashing into a roadside gutter before slamming sideways into a broken concrete pole. The impact echoed through the street. For a moment, everything froze. Then screams erupted. People rushed toward the wreck. Smoke rose from the engine. The driver lay unconscious. But in the back seat, a woman sat slumped, blood trickling down her temple, eyes closed. Her name was Moronkeji Adebola, wife of billionaire industrialist Chief Adewale Adebola. But in that moment, she was nothing more than a broken woman in a broken car. By the time Moronkeji opened her eyes again, the world felt unfamiliar. White walls, a sharp antiseptic smell, the distant beep of hospital machines. She tried to sit up, but pain exploded in her head. A nurse rushed over. "Easy, easy," Moronkeji blinked. "Where am I?" "In Sacred Mercy Hospital. You were in an accident." She swallowed. "My husband, my family." The nurse hesitated. "What is your name, Ma?" She opened her mouth. Nothing came out. Her mind reached for memories, but touched only emptiness. Fear surged. I don't know." The nurse's face softened. "It's okay. Sometimes head injuries cause temporary memory loss." But the scans revealed devastating news. Severe trauma-induced amnesia. Her identity, her past, her entire life, erased. When Chief Adewale arrived, the hospital corridor trembled with urgency. Security men moved swiftly. Doctors rushed forward. Nurses whispered. The billionaire of the Southwest had arrived. When he entered the ward and saw his wife lying weak and confused, something inside him cracked. "Moronkeji," he whispered, rushing to her bedside. "My love." She stared at him, blankly. "I'm sorry," she said slowly. "Do I know you?" The question struck deeper than any knife. He swallowed hard. "I am your husband." She searched his face. Nothing. No recognition. No warmth. Only polite confusion. The doctors later explained. "She may remember. She may not. Recovery varies." But weeks passed, then months. Moronkeji remembered how to walk, how to speak, how to eat, but her past never returned. And something else changed. She grew afraid of luxury. Large rooms unsettled her. Bright lights made her dizzy. Silence frightened her. The mansion she once ruled felt like a prison. One morning, she vanished. Security cameras showed her walking calmly out the gates. No luggage, no destination, just instinct pulling her away. By nightfall, Lagos had swallowed her. Far away in a dusty roadside market outside Ibadan, Sola arranged his small wooden table. He sold roasted corn and ground nuts. That was all. A battered umbrella for shade, a rusted tray, a cracked kettle, and a wooden bench he sat on when exhaustion won. Sola had once been a bright student. Then sickness claimed his parents. Then poverty claimed his future. Now he survived day by day. That evening he noticed a woman wandering near his stall. Her clothes were dirty, her hair tangled, her eyes lost. She walked in circles, confused, trembling. He watched quietly. Finally she collapsed near his bench. People passed. No one stopped. Sola approached gently. "Madam?" She looked up, frightened. "I don't know where I am," she whispered. Sola knelt beside her. "Come, sit." He gave her water, then corn. She ate slowly, carefully, as if rediscovering hunger. "What is your name?" he asked softly. She shook her head. "I don't remember." That night, Sola led her to his tiny room behind the market. a space barely big enough for one. He gave her his mattress. He slept on the floor. Without knowing, a billionaire's wife fell asleep under a leaking zinc roof, cradled by poverty and kindness. And for the first time since losing her memory, she felt safe. Morning came softly into Sola's tiny room. Thin rays of sunlight slipped through holes in the rusted zinc roof, touching the woman's face. She stirred slowly, confused by the unfamiliar surroundings. For a brief moment, panic seized her. Then she saw Sola. He sat on a wooden stool, peeling roasted corn. "You're awake," he said gently. She studied him. His clothes were worn, his face tired, but his eyes carried calm. "Where am I?" she asked quietly. "My place," he replied. "You collapsed yesterday. I couldn't leave you there." She touched her head. "I don't remember anything." Sola nodded. "That's okay. You're safe." He handed her a cup of warm water. She drank slowly. For the first time, hunger crept into her stomach. Sola noticed. "I'll get you food," he said. "But how much will it cost?" she asked uncertainly. He smiled faintly. "Not everything costs money." He returned with pap and akara, paid for with coins he could barely spare. She ate quietly. When she finished, she looked at him. "Why are you helping me?" Sola paused. "I know what it means to have nothing," he said simply. That answer settled something inside her. Days passed. She stayed. They did not talk about her past. They spoke only of the present, of the sun, of hunger, of hope. Sola showed her how to roast corn, how to sell groundnuts, how to greet customers. She learned quickly. Her hands were gentle, her voice calm. People liked her. They called her BC, a name chosen at random, but it fit. Soon she worked beside him every day. They earned little, but they ate. At night she washed his clothes. He fetched water. They shared stories that began from nowhere and ended in silence. Yet slowly something bloomed. Trust. One evening rain poured heavily. Business was poor. They sat under the umbrella, listening to thunder. "Do you ever wonder who you were?" Sola asked softly. She nodded. "Sometimes. But it doesn't hurt as much as I thought it would." "Why?" "Because I am not alone." Those words stayed with him. Far away, Chief Adewale had not slept in months. His mansion echoed with emptiness. Search teams scoured cities. Police investigated hospitals. Billboards displayed her picture. Radio stations called her name. Morum Keji Adebola, missing. Millions were spent. Nothing returned. The billionaire aged quickly. He withdrew from public life. His empire trembled. And each night he sat in her empty room, whispering her name into silence. One afternoon, as BC sold corn by the roadside, a luxury convoy passed. The rumble of engines made her freeze. Her head throbbed. Images flashed. Bright lights, cold marble. A man calling her name. She dropped the corn. Sola rushed to her. "What is it?" I saw something," she whispered, "but it disappeared." He helped her sit. "Maybe your memory is coming back," he said. Fear crossed her face. "What if I belong somewhere else?" Sola said nothing, but the thought followed him home. The dreams began quietly. At first they were only flashes, flickers of bright rooms, distant laughter, a man's voice calling her name in desperation. BC would wake up sweating, heart pounding, her breath tangled in fear. Sola noticed the change. "You don't sleep well anymore," he said one morning. She shook her head. "I keep seeing things, places I don't recognize but feel familiar." He nodded slowly. "Maybe your memory is waking up." That word, memory, hung heavily between them. For weeks she had avoided thinking about her past. Here, in poverty and simplicity, she had found peace. But now curiosity stirred. Questions she had buried began to rise. Who was she? Where did she come from? Why did luxury convoys trigger pain in her chest? One afternoon, while cleaning the tiny room, she found something hidden in the folds of her tattered clothes. A ring, gold, heavy, engraved with initials, M.A. Her hands trembled. This was not something a poor woman owned. She showed Sola. He stared at it for a long moment. You may not belong to the life you're living now. Fear tightened her chest. What if I leave? She whispered. He lowered his eyes. Then you must. But inside, something cracked. Meanwhile, in Lagos, the billionaire's desperation reached its breaking point. Chief Adewale collapsed during a board meeting. Doctors ordered rest. He refused. My wife is out there, he said, and you want me to sleep? Then a breakthrough arrived. A market trader from Ibadan reported seeing a woman matching Moron Keji's description selling corn. Security teams mobilized instantly. Convoys roared onto the highway. That evening, Sola sensed unease. The air felt tense. Bisi was restless. I feel like something is coming, she whispered. Before he could respond, the market exploded with noise. Black SUVs, security officers, crowds gathering, phones recording, people whispering. They're here for someone. Sola's heart thudded. Then a tall man stepped forward, Chief Adewale. His eyes scanned faces desperately. Then he saw her. Time stopped. Moron Keji. The name struck her like thunder. Pain burst behind her eyes. Memories shattered through darkness. The mansion, the marriage, the wealth, the accident. She screamed and collapsed. When Bisi opened her eyes again, the ceiling above her was not made of rusted zinc. It was smooth, white, clean. The smell in the air was antiseptic, not dust and roasted corn. For a moment, confusion held her still. Then everything rushed back. Her name, her life, her husband, her wealth, the accident. Tears spilled down her cheeks. Moron Keji, the voice trembled beside her. She turned. Chief Adewale sat by her bed, his face worn with months of grief. I'm here, he whispered. You're safe. Her lips trembled. I remember. He closed his eyes, overwhelmed. Doctors confirmed it. Her memory had returned. The psychological shock of recognition had unlocked everything. The world rejoiced. News channels erupted. Billionaire's missing wife found alive. But far from the cameras, one man sat quietly by a dusty roadside. Sola. His bench stood empty. The umbrella folded. The kettle cold. People congratulated him. You helped a rich woman. You're lucky. But inside, silence screamed. He had not helped a rich woman. He had helped Bisi, the woman who washed his clothes, the woman who shared his hunger, the woman who slept on his floor. Now she was gone. At the mansion, Moron Keji recovered quickly. Luxury surrounded her. Doctors monitored her. Stylists restored her elegance. Friends returned. But peace did not. Each night she lay awake thinking of roasted corn, of dusty roads, of Sola, of kindness without motive. Guilt grew. 1 week later, she insisted on returning to Ibadan. Against advice, against security concerns, against protocol. Her convoy rolled back into the same market. Crowds parted. Sola stood frozen. She stepped out slowly. Their eyes met. She rushed forward and embraced him tightly. I remember everything, she whispered. He swallowed hard. I'm glad you're well. Tears fell between them. She turned to her husband. This man saved my life. Chief Adewale stepped forward. His voice was steady but emotional. You saved my world. He offered Sola a thick envelope. Sola did not take it. I didn't help her for money, he said. Adewale paused, then nodded deeply. What do you want? Sola thought, then said quietly, a chance. Silence followed Sola's request. A chance. Chief Adewale studied the young man carefully. What kind of chance? He asked. Sola hesitated, then spoke honestly. To become something better than hunger allows. Those words struck deeper than any plea for money. Adewale nodded slowly. Then you shall have it. 2 weeks later, Sola stood before a building taller than any structure he had ever seen. Lawal Group headquarters. He felt small, out of place. But Moronkeji stood beside him, smiling gently. You belong, she said. Sola was enrolled into an educational program funded by the Adebola Foundation. First, basic education, then business training, then mentorship. It was not easy. He struggled with computers, with formal speech, with confidence. But discipline had been carved into him by poverty. He learned quickly. Months passed, then years. Sola transformed, from roadside seller to graduate, from hunger to stability, from survival to vision. But he never forgot where he came from. Meanwhile, Moronkeji never returned fully to her old life. She launched rural outreach programs, food stalls for widows, education funds for market children, mobile clinics for roadside communities, because she had lived their lives, and she would never unlearn it. Years later, Sola stood on a stage, before governors, before business leaders, before the press. He had launched Hope Bridge Enterprises, a company that trains street vendors into entrepreneurs. He spoke calmly. Kindness saved my life. I'm just passing it forward. Moronkeji watched from the front row, tears shining. Chief Adewale placed his hand over hers. Their journey had changed them all. And somewhere in the busy streets of Ibadan, a small food stall still roasted corn. A simple reminder that sometimes destiny hides under dust, waiting for compassion to uncover it.